Hello everyone, how's it going? So it's a bit late in the night, but I decided to make another video today, another blog review, because I'm really trying to amplify our marketing efforts for aSHIB and my blog and for everything. But anyway, let's get straight to the point because this blog post is a well researched one. There's been lots of hours put into it, and the topic, as you can see, is how to pretend to be a Web3 developer. And yes, I think in today's world, you got to fake it till you make it. You're never born something, so you're always gonna keep trying to learn and try to finally try your best to become what you're trying to do. So that's the whole reason behind the title. But yeah, let's get back to the main content of it. So what does this blog post actually contain? This is it starts off with a bit of my personal story of how I was always like fascinated with mathematics, a bit about my career, and how while working in a sales job with Western Union, right at the time when, right before when this website was created, this blog, MilanKaRaja was created, I was kind of doing some sales work in Italy, selling in Italian, and that was quite challenging. And it was during the time when I suddenly realized that I needed to get into tech and I needed to explore the whole web development thing and really understand how all of it works. And I wanted to build amazing products in the future. And ever since, I've kind of taken a lot of steps in that direction, and I kind of started this website, this blog on WordPress. Like, the most simplest thing you can do when you're trying to learn web development, like start a blog, a WordPress blog, and just make some content and slowly explore as you go. So I kind of did that, and I then found myself in Austria. I left Milan and started a new job in research, and that became uh, an amazing learning experience. I started doing my PhD in economics at the University of Innsbruck, and I worked on a lot of challenging projects for an insurance company, for the central bank here, for another data science related AI ML project. So all of it was great experience, and this I had like so much to talk about and do actually to actually apply all that I learned. So yeah, so then I kind of like talk about all of that, my career, about blogging and everything, and then about the last year when I discovered Algorand and how I became even more interested in building some of these Web3 projects using the Algorand blockchain, and how I got into the Algo Shiba Inu team, and how I started doing a few uh, initial work like doing some airdrops with some Python code, etc. And while doing that, I realized that I could do more, build an app, and if I could learn some front end and back end of web development better, and then I could like apply some of my AI uh, models and come up with some cool business application. So yes, uh, that's my journey. So that's why this guide may be interesting to a lot of people, younger people, older people, whoever. But so coming to this question, why is this the best Web3 development guide? I kind of like, if you just Google search this on, you would find a lot of blogs and tutorials focusing on the Ethereum blockchain, on focusing on Solidity tutorials, etc. And many of them actually don't really cover everything that a person needs to know from scratch, right? It's kind of assuming that you're already into web development and you just need to upgrade to Web3. But this article hopes to be like an overall roadmap for everyone to start from scratch if you have no idea of web development, nothing. So that's the whole idea behind this. But yeah, So let's have a look at the roadmap here in 10 steps. So I noted down like 10 points which I think are important to your success in Web3 development, and you could probably I would be including even two more points into it. But let's start with like the first one. A Web3 developer always like tracks his job applications. So what does that mean? It basically means that a Web3 developer keeps applying for jobs because you get a lot of feedback from each job interview you do, and you really learn a lot about the perspective of that organization. And because they have invested like hundreds of hours in making some business, and when you're interviewing them and talking with them, you really get to learn a lot. uh, and they usually most of the interviews I've done recently, they all end up giving me some small project to work on, uh, to to see how well I can code and do all the stuff. So if you keep applying for jobs, you're going to learn a lot. And I think a few of I can just tell you like a few of the interviews I've done. I did a whole range of interviews, which have kind of given me good practice for each of those different components of Web3 that I'll be talking about below. So the idea here is always keep applying for jobs. You're going to learn a lot, and always also like track your job applications. And to do this, uh, yes, I kind of like mention down a few things, a few of the feedback and learning I got from my job interviews. And then I talk about this tool, my jobs tracker, that me and my friend are building. It's mostly my friend Deepak who's building it, and I'm gonna do my part by introducing some crypto stuff and some AI stuff to it. So I haven't really done my part in it yet, but I'm just like promoting it for now. So this is this tool called My Jobs Tracker. You can have a look at it. Click on it. Oh yeah. So since I already made my profile, it's already logged in. So the idea here is, oops, you get to, let's say, I apply for a job, uh, data science, yes, scientist. Yeah, we got the spelling right. Let's put it to aSHIB, right? If you wanna like apply to aSHIB, let's say www.aSHIB.finance. All right. So let's say I'm applying for a job for a data scientist at aSHIB, and I just put in a URL and I just add it, and the job gets successfully added. And then you go to job list, and here you find your whole list of jobs that you applied with, and then you can like edit feedback, add like more. Yeah, you could do, yeah, you could edit it, and yeah, whether you received the job or got your first interview or your second interview or not, you could just update it accordingly. And yeah, the useful thing about this tool is, uh, I've been applying for jobs in Europe for the past decade, and I kind of remember each of my experiences from memory, but I wish I had all of those learning in one place. And my jobs tracker, it helps you to organize your career, right? Or each job you do, or each thing, at least you have the list of each interviews you've done, and job interviews provide immense feedback. As you can see, the stuff that I could learn from my recent job interviews, documenting my Python code better, to use more object-oriented programming in Python, building some backend for AI and finance applications. Yes, I had to build like a index for a fund, and also do some AI backend, finalizing some text to do some sentiment analysis and stuff. Um, and then there was a REST API thing, which was quite challenging. I'm not yet done with it. I really, it was quite a new thing to explore for me because I hadn't really done much of that stuff before. And yeah, it was quite challenging, but it was great. I finally got it all running. I'll try to show it to you in one of the next videos, that little app of mine. Uh, and then yeah, you could understand databases like SQL and all that. Yeah, so basically, interviews you get to learn a lot. And now let's get moving. All right. Yeah, this is my second video, so I'm kind of really lagging around. But I hope you enjoy all this talk because I know I will. So the second point for web development that I'm trying to focus on in this post is about using your command line interface, right? When I started programming, I was using the Windows command prompt and for quite a lot of time for doing all my Python, Jupyter notebooks, and etc. But then I moved to the Windows terminal, which is awesome because it lets you use a Linux subsystem, a Windows subsystem on it, and basically you get to try all the Linux commands on it, and it's nice because you have like more options. You get to check your history of your command history, and I think I really enjoy working with it better. It's and some of the crypto software or like the thing like Reach that's used for Algorand blockchain, it kind of runs only on this WSL. So I think yeah, from based on my understanding, you should be using, if you have a Windows system and not a Linux system already, then you should check this out and get a Kali Linux or something on your from the Windows terminal. But yeah, I'm sure like most of it's just like very simple basic advice for like beginner programmers, so it's like nothing, no biggie. And here's another simple um, tip about using VS Code, because if you're not using VS Code and you have never used it, then you should use it because it's nice and it's very convenient. You can do a lot of stuff. And but what the way I do it is I use my Jupyter notebook as well, because I use a VS Code to make my primary like software. But if I'm like starting from scratch and I just want to test a few commands, some few libraries, and I don't know how the software is going to work, I would use a Jupyter notebook to test each line of code, and you get to see what response you get. I mean, yeah, it can be. I kind of use the Jupyter notebook a lot, so it helps me to debug a bit. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, the VS Code is definitely needed because you cannot keep coding on your Jupyter notebook all the time. You need to make your code more organized and you work on bigger projects. You kind of store your code in .py files in Python, for example, and then you import them on your primary code, and this way it's all more organized. Sorry about that. Now we come to the front end for Web3 development. Now this is one of the most important things, um, because you so once I decided on this goal of building a useful app that would integrate this cryptocurrency aSHIB into it, uh, I found a lot of tutorials on like React and Reach, and that seemed like the primary focus. Like if you could learn how to use React quite well, you could integrate it with Reach commands, and then you could basically create an online wallet. You could create an interface for a wallet and Algorand wallet, and you could connect your Algorand wallet to your app, and you could then use in some of those login authentication details to do make some more algorithms on it and whatever. So you could do a lot of stuff. Um, but yeah, so knew that I understood that I needed to get better at my front end, and being someone who was blogging and then getting into a lot of programming, uh, learning front end was not it's not like that challenging. You get to learn it quickly, but of course, anything that you do requires some time investment. So yeah, be prepared to spend some days to get really comfortable with everything. And yeah, I mean, in today's age, you can learn anything. There's so much of online content and help available. Like, I myself used so many resources, hundreds of resources in making this blog post. It might not seem that evident, but yeah, I would encourage you to keep to read the article directly because it's probably got more details. And here I'm just like giving a very concise summary of what was there in it. And so yeah, um, there's definitely a lot of things to explore. So you yeah, there's this thing about this React tic-tac-toe game on the official React tutorial app, which kind of simplifies things nicely. But I have to say, I remember checking it out like 3 times. The first time I checked it out, I just skipped past through the whole thing because it just felt like, yeah, it was too complex. The second time, I kind of started digging in a bit after working on some React stuff on the side, and it made more sense. And the third time, I kind of worked a lot on the React stuff, and then I came and had a look at it, and it was like it all made like very easy sense. So the idea is you got to get your brain to you got to get your brain to adapt to whatever you're learning. So you got to spend some time on each of these things, and yeah. So then comes the backend for web development. So I yeah, this is fortunately thanks to a recent job interview, I kind of managed to focus myself on this completely, and I managed to learn a lot of stuff. It's pretty interesting. Uh, so uh, you what I did here was some backend with Python, and um, basically try to um, create like a connect it to a database and try to test some of your crude operations like this create, read, update, delete. So you want to have these get, post, put, delete methods, and you want to be able to communicate with the database, send data, retrieve it, update it, delete it. And if you're able to do it with a 200 successful response, then you're good to go. I mean, of course, you got to do a lot of unit tests and stuff. And I'm still working on this, so I just put in a bit into it. I just like try to learn, like get something working as quick as possible. So I managed to get my I managed to build a backend, connecting it with SQLite to keep things simple. I mean, I also tried Postgres. It also kind of worked out, but yeah, the SQLite thing seemed like simpler, and I didn't. Um, yeah, I just left it to that right now. And I managed to connect it to the front end, and it was nice to have the ability to update my data in the database from a front end. And so that was all like quite nice. So I managed to figure all that out, and I'm working on the login page. And so basically, yeah, so as you can see, this is a simple app, like a to-do list kind of thing. You add in all these stuff and this information you want it to be sent to the backend and saved there. So I need to discuss with Deepak what he has actually done. Has he finished the backend here? Or yeah, I think he seems to have done it. Uh, but yeah, and I'm trying to like Deepak's been a web developer for quite some years, whereas I have been doing a lot of other stuff. So some of these front end and back end stuff is not my primary expertise, but I got it figured out. You know, it's never too late. So that's something to learn. And then using Docker, yeah. So this is something that you got to explore. Helps you like since as you can guess it from my tone, I'm still quite an amateur web developer, pretending to be a web developer. So when I was doing these interviews in the past months, that's when I kept getting to know about Docker more and started using it. Uh, and I finally understood like what the whole idea behind it helps you to like build your apps and share it with someone else without worrying about the dependencies and stuff. It totally helps you in building, running, and shipping your applications, and it helps to keep things more organized. And then you have GitHub. Why should you use GitHub? Of course, I mean anyone who's programs would know this, and I've seen anyone who does not program also has a GitHub account. Like I myself have probably had my GitHub account for like over years, but maybe like the first 1 2 years when I created it, I really didn't do anything much on it, and then like 4 years back when I started blogging and stuff, I tried to put some code into it, but didn't really do much. Now I'm kind of using it even more, and still not using it in the proper way. So everything has its learning curve, and yes. So what GitHub allows you to do is allows you to collaborate in your coding. So basically, you you can find someone's code on GitHub. You can clone that repository into your computer. You can make some changes, and then you can send it to your repository, and like kind of like merge it, and that like lots of options that you can. It helps. It's like this version control system, and yeah, that's pretty uh, cool, and you got to use it more. But yeah, I mean, there's so much of stuff to do in web development. At least if you're trying to do Web3 development, for someone trying to like do it all like very quick, it's gonna be uh, quite painful. But yeah, so but I think yeah, slow and steady. Keep using GitHub more, and the thing is, uh, like you can do the simple stuff with GitHub, but the complex stuff, like you would only do it when you're like actually coding. You're actually mm, updating some. You built a repository, you took some code, and you kind of updated it, and then you're again trying to send it back, uh, and you're like trying to merge it again. So that's when you keep doing it. That's when you get to learn it, and yeah. So keep doing it, people. And yeah, here's my part, my expertise, a machine learning for Web3 development. So I kind of spent like almost a year and a half building machine learning models. So I kind of like dug deep into this. Started off with some TensorFlows and then moved into PyTorch. And yeah, it was super interesting. And I was doing it all with more like financial programming experience, earlier financial programming experience, and basic web stuff knowledge. So it was a bit complex. But once I finally managed to get myself all ready to code, and already once I got into PyTorch, it became more interesting because then I could understand deep learning in a much better way. Uh, and yeah, it's the whole idea behind this deep learning thing is about modeling for non-linearities, and it's like doing a linear regression. The ones that I've been doing since a decade in finance and economics, and now we just have uh, a better way using all these nodes to find the non-linearities. But yeah, but there's definitely a lot of stuff you can do in it, and I kind of put in some few of the stuff. I kind of mention a few things here, but I'm gonna like I haven't worked on this stuff for some time. I need to work on it, so I'll be working on the AI stuff again, and um, I'll be posting posts where I'll try to explain it all more in detail. Um, Now finally come to the crypto part, why Algorand is better than Ethereum. So yes, I already posted a previous video on this channel about Algorand, but yeah, the Algorand blockchain It's got no gas fees and carbon negative, carbon neutral, whatever. And it's exciting. It's growing. A lot of projects coming up, and this project for which I'm marketing right now, aSHIB, is also one of those stuff. And yeah, mm, it's you should check it. You could it's got a big community. The Bitcoin community is huge. I mean, the Ethereum community is, I think, even bigger. But some reason I kind of like stuck into the social bubble of Algorand, and I've been all using. I mean, I just it's kind of simple for me. Uh, it is something that's got like gas fees and all involved in it. If it's going to be expensive to do it, I would not be that interested in it. Algorand is cheap. It's convenient. And a final point on project management and using Notion. So this is a wonderful tool that I have here. Yeah, I'm not gonna like show you my notes, but Notion's a great tool, and it helps you to keep things organized. Mm, and it's really versatile, and it's a great tool to write your notes when you're trying to get a lot of work done. Because I think that's the whole thing about 2022. Your source of income needs to. I mean, you need to be really highly organized. You probably do a lot of different things, a lot of different projects, and you have a lot of these big plans, and things need to be really organized. And a tool like Notion, I think, would really make a big difference in it. And yes, so that's pretty much the whole article here. But there's two more points I would like to add to this. Uh, One about writing blogs like this, because all of this information, there's a lot of information there. Uh, it might not be useful to everyone, but it could be useful to like someone like completely starting out from scratch. It could be useful to others as well. I have no idea. I'll know from the comments. And I mean, yes, some a lot of things I kind of like just set a few basic points about a lot of topics without really talking much in detail and sounding quite stupid about them. But I will try to keep posting more content. And uh, yes, I mean, the talking and the commentary is just like me in a very lazy mood browsing through my blog. But yeah. Oh, I shouldn't have been scrolling it around like that for video. But anyway, so making a blog is a good idea. It helps you to organize your thoughts. And what is an even more better idea is to like is that once you finish making a blog, you record yourself discussing the blog and post it up on YouTube. You got like double content, and and it's nice. You practice another skill of being able to talk, right? Just to be able to talk and make video content as well, audio video content as well. So, and I think it also helps bring some clarity. So at least for now, after doing this small little video, long video, I at least know that mm, yes, that I know that I managed to write a lot of stuff, but to be able to present them, I would have to spend some more time actually like reading my blog clearly one time before I present it, uh, and then have like a roadmap in my head of what I'm going to talk about instead of keeping it too spontaneous. But yeah, it's all feedback, right? Because you're going to do interviews, you're going to do presentations, you're going to do all these things in your life, and you're always trying to like over time you're trying to like reduce your preparation for each of these things. But uh, one way you can reduce your preparation time is by using repetitions and iterations, so that as you keep doing them again and again, yeah, sooner or later you fix your mistakes and get better. It yes, if you can like look at my blog, it doesn't look that bad, right? It's got like even see, it's got like good marketing here. It's got like this buttons here, and it's got like the table of contents here with lots of ads, of course. But it's got like inline links, in-page links and stuff, quotes, and so yeah, everything takes time. Uh, it Web3 development is a long journey, and it require you can always focus on some parts of it, like instead of uh, like there are people who could say that they just want to focus on making content for Web3, but I don't think that's gonna be great content until you actually do something. So until you actually have your own Web3 app running or something like that, that's when you can actually go and I mean, yeah, you might not have like the best Web3 app running, but then you can make the best Web3 content from it since you've actually done something. So, so that's the idea here. Lots of stuff to explore, uh, and and yes, you got to. It's a fine balance between learning and doing. So, whatever you learn, you got to like think about applying it. And if you're not able to apply it, the least you can do is to apply explaining it, right? Explaining what you learned from it, and that helps someone else. So, yes, people, a lot of stuff to explore. You would definitely be spending a lot of time on the front end stuff, the back end stuff, and if you haven't done that before, and connecting the Algorand uh, reach to your React app, Reach React app. It's not too complicated, but there are some issues with the technology. Like for example, React has this Webpack 5 upgrade, which kind of makes it, which doesn't allow this Reach thing to Reach libraries to work with it, and that kind of came as a surprise when I updated and updated my React, and it suddenly stopped working and kind of drew me crazy. And uh, this is a kind of experience that a lot of web developers face, a lot of frustration when things that are working suddenly stop working and they cannot follow through their plans, and it really takes a hit on their motivations to get things done. But web developers, like, each failure is a path to success, so all of this kind of makes them more patient and makes them more innovative, right? So even you convert if you can convert your failures into value by like creating content, for example, yeah, right? So I had like a little hard time with my coding stuff, and I wanted to take a break, but I still wanted to do something productive. I didn't want to like take a break and not do anything, just do programming and not do anything else. That's not the way to go. So yeah, coding can be challenging, and when you want to take a break, it's nice to do something else productive. This way you remain motivated to keep going. All right, fellows, thank you again for listening to my long Web3 development experience talk. I hope you enjoy my videos and my audio recording stuff, my vlogs. Oh man, I'm not going to edit any of this. I'm going to post all of this. Yeah, see you. Thank you again. Bye bye. Ciao, ciao.